It's starting to feel like Leeds United don't have any quiet weeks at all, which is kind of a good place to be when you are a club that has just been promoted and are looking to stick around in the Premier League for next season. But there are a couple of very, very big stories surrounding Leeds United at the moment that I think need to be covered before we get into this coming week of transfer news, because I think this is going to be the biggest week that we have had yet. So, in this video, I'm going to talk through the PAIXÃO stuff. I'm going to take a little bit of a flit into what's been going on with the Frank Kessier story, because I think not too many people are covering that one, and it needs explaining throughout because people have asked me about that a little bit. And we can look forward into a good week. But before I do so, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, be massively appreciated. I'm very close to the very, very funny 6969 number. And after that, I will be very, very close to 7,000 subscribers. So thank you very much. Anyway, going to dive into it. And first, I'm going to deal with the story that looks very, very unlikely before I get into the one that everyone wants to know about. And that is the Frank Kessier story. So Frank Kessier is an Ivorian central midfielder. Tends to be on the defensive side, plays as a bit of a six, a little bit like Ethan Ampadu, Anton Stack, Ilya Gruev. In terms of his level as a footballer, very clearly very decent. So 103 appearances for AC Milan, 28 for Barcelona, recently been playing in Saudi Arabia. He's got 91 caps for his country at the age of 28. He's not a bad player in the slightest. However, people have been linking us with signing him, which feels entirely insane for us. I'm just going to cut the story off incredibly early before too many people dive into it too hard. Kessier is currently on £250,000 a week, and that is without taxes because it's Saudi Arabia and they have insane tax benefits. Add on to that we would need to pay a fee for him. Add on to that the fact that it is in a position where we have plenty of players already. Add on to that the fact that it goes completely against our style of recruitment. So at the moment we are looking to sign sort of players in a set age bracket, typically 26 or 27. He's a little bit over that, admittedly, not too far, but also whilst being affordable and not having like tons left on their contract. It would be very, very sensible for us to not go for Frank Kessier, and it would be very out of character if we did. I'm going to cut this story off right there. I don't think that's going to happen. One that I do think is on the verge of being completed is the move for Eigor Pyishaw. Now, lots and lots of little bits have been going on around this as of late, which the main source that I'm going to bring up on this one is L'Equipe, because L'Equipe tend to know their stuff. Admittedly, they have most of their sources in France, which means they will take a French perspective on stories, but in stories where there is a French side to be told, they tend to be pretty much on point. So specifically diving into it, Marseille had an interest, eventually ended up not going for him because they didn't have the money for him, but are still trying to cause a little bit of mischief within the deal, especially when like fans of Marseille are getting very, very het up on Twitter. It's very funny. I urge you, have a look yourselves. It's beautiful. But Pyishaw is seemingly on the move, and L'Equipe have effectively said that we are ridiculously close to closing this deal, to the point that I'm starting to prepare a couple of social media posts and a thumbnail for a stream the moment that it is effectively confirmed that we are going to be signing him. Because I'm going to try and be as on point as I can with various bits of transfer news for the foreseeable, but shout at me if it's not. It's fine. Effectively, it looks like we have offered £28 million plus add-ons, £30 million, maybe a little bit more, to sign Pyishaw. This much we already knew, but it's how close we were that was in doubt. Yesterday I did not yesterday, the day before, sorry, I did a story where I had been told by someone that is a co-worker of mine that Feyenoord were very, very close to accepting the deal, or specifically he asked me, what have you heard about Feyenoord having accepted the deal? He said it in the past tense, which made me think there's a little bit of a something there. So I'm of the opinion that Pyishaw was very much on the verge of making this move. On the brink is the wording used, for €34 million, and I think that would come out as our record signing, because I think Rodrigo was £27 million. I can't remember what Jorginho Retail landed at in the end, but we'll find out. Anyway, sorry, I got lost partway through that story, so I'm going to pick it up again in 1 second. There we go. I've been able to pick it up again after a very, very quick Google. So, effectively, a lot of the time when you're looking to sign a new player, the other club will want to sign someone first. So, using the example of Newcastle specifically, everyone was expecting we might sign Nick Pope because Newcastle are expecting to get Trafford. Newcastle don't get Trafford, Pope will not be on the way out. As a result, the dominoes haven't fallen in that way, but the dominoes surrounding Pyishaw seem to already be on the way down. Specifically, as mentioned by Football Orange, which is a website that focuses on Dutch football, Feyenoord held their open day at De Kuip on Sunday, this being not yesterday, but a week ago. And as per tradition, all their new signings stepped off a helicopter. One of those was a surprise as Gonçalo Borges of Portugal, from Porto, stepped off the plane. He is a winger that plays in the exact same position and role and style as Mr. Eigor Pyishaw. Now, if you're looking at it from a purely external perspective without any of the context, you might think, oh, okay, that's kind of interesting. So it looks like they're trying to add a little bit of competition for Pyishaw. But you had the context that for a couple of weeks now, it's been very, very clear that Pyishaw is on the way out, and Pyishaw is probably too good for Eredivisie. That adds to the belief that Pyishaw is gone. And we're the only club that are really remaining in for him. I've had a further look into the other clubs that had an interest. Roma were part of a discussion for a day. Marseille, again, wider part of the discussion, eventually dropped out because they couldn't keep up with the bids. Arsenal were interested for a couple of days, went, maybe not. Napoli, I think at one point even said, well, he's quite good. So in terms of the sort of markets that we're shopping in, I'm very happy that we're looking at signing Eigor Pyishaw. And it looks like that door is wide open. And I think at some point this week we are going to get the confirmation that Pyishaw is on his way to Leeds or Germany, wherever we are at that point. We could still be in the training camp, I'm not sure. But I think within the week we learn that Eigor Pyishaw is a Leeds United player, hopefully before the friendly against Villarreal, because I would love to see this guy on a football pitch. But if not, soon would be good. Soon would be very, very good. It looks like it's round the corner, if you want my honest opinion. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and I'll be very, very sad. But I'm optimistic about this one. And I hope you are too. And if you are, let me know in the comments down below. That'd be massively appreciated. Subscribe if you haven't yet. As mentioned previously, I'm aiming for that 69.69 and then the 7,000. So it'd be good to have you on board. And you can also become a channel member if you fancy. It's $2.99 a month. And I'll be honest, you get a bunch of videos early and stuff like that, and it's just a way to support the channel because I like doing this. I've got to be honest with you. I like doing the live streams, I like doing the videos, and I would like it to be somewhat financially viable once the transfer window goes away. Because once the transfer window goes away, a lot of you guys go away, and that's quite sad. But I'm going to do what I can to keep things going, but it being financially viable. To do so would be lovely. So any support in any way, shape, or form would be spectacular. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you later. Ta-ra.